French cement maker Lafarge has pleaded guilty in the U.S. to supporting the Islamic State and other terror groups. The firm agreed to pay a $777.8 million £687.2 million fine for paying bribes to keep a factory running in Syria after war broke out in 2011. Prosecutors said it marked the first time a company had pleaded guilty in the U.S. to aiding terrorists. Lafarge said it deeply regretted the events and accepted responsibility for the individual executives involved. The cement manufacturer, which was bought by Switzerland's Holcim in 2015, said their behavior had been in flagrant violation of Lafarge's code of conduct. The firm opened its plant in Jalabia near the Turkish border in 2010 following a $680 million investment. U.S. prosecutors said that Lafarge's Syrian subsidiary had paid Islamic State and another terror group, Al-Nusra Front, the equivalent of $5.92 million to protect staff at the plant as the country's civil war intensified. Executives likened the arrangements to paying taxes, they said. Lafarge eventually evacuated the plant in September 2014, when Islamic State took control of the town and the factory. Lafarge had previously admitted bribes were paid after an internal investigation. But U.S. Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco said on Tuesday that the company's actions reflect corporate crime that has reached a new low and a very dark place. Business with terrorists cannot be business as usual, she added. In a statement, Lafarge's new owner Holcim said none of the conduct involved Holcim, which has never operated in Syria. It added that former Lafarge executives involved in the bribery had concealed it from Holcim, as well as external auditors. Eric Olson, who ran Lafarge and Holcim until 2017, stepped down from his role following an investigation into Lafarge's activities in Syria. At the time, Mr. Olson said he had not been involved in any wrongdoing and was standing down to bring serenity to the company. The Department of Justice said that executives had concealed the arrangements and had attempted to require Islamic State not to include the name Lafarge on documents memorializing and implementing their agreements. The department said that many of the Lafarge executives involved in the scheme also used personal email addresses, rather than their corporate email addresses, to carry out the conspiracy. Lafarge executives also backdated the termination agreement to August 18, 2014, a date shortly after the United Nations Security Council had issued a resolution calling on member states to prohibit doing business with Islamic State, to falsely suggest that negotiations with Islamic State had not occurred after the UN resolution. After the proceedings in a Brooklyn federal court, Assistant Attorney General Matthew G. Olson of the Justice Department's National Security Division commented, "The defendants routed nearly $6 million in illicit payments to two of the world's most notorious terrorist organizations, ISIS and Al-Nusra Front in Syria, at a time those groups were brutalizing innocent civilians in Syria and actively plotting to harm Americans. There is simply no justification for a multinational corporation authorizing payments to designated terrorist organizations," he added. Lafarge also faces charges of complicity in crimes against humanity in France over its activities in Syria, but the company denies the claims.